It's been the same helmet design since the Lego Spaceman.
More or less, yeah.
And now they've changed it for F1.
Hello there, Brick Fanatics. My name is Rachael and I'm coming to you from Las Vegas, doing something quite exciting today. We're getting a first look at some of the Lego Formula 1 sets for 2025 and managing to have a chat with some of the designers as well. So without further ado, let's go.
The partnership is all about bringing families together, building and playing and sharing their love for Formula One. The front here, we've got a little racing simulator with a minifigure getting in some extra practice before they get to the track. Let's just make sure they don't stay up too late tonight so they're fresh for qualifying tomorrow. Whilst we've done individual cars before for LEGO Speed Champions F1 teams, we've never done anything at this scale before. We have all 10 teams recreated in the most fantastic level of detail. And whilst we started with the other cars toy first, here we started car first. And that's to say we took the reference material from all 10 teams, so that's videos and images and liveries and all the colors and the designs, and then tried to recreate those as accurately as possible with Lego elements.
We are here at the Lego City table, where we've got a number of sets to get through, starting with the moving track featuring Red Bull and Aston Martin cars. There's space in the truck itself for 2 cars, so Red Bull's already in there, and Aston Martin is here. 2 more minifigures there, and a nice touch. There's a little simulation area in there where you can see someone's getting some practice in ahead of qualifying. Then we're moving on to the pit stop. Just got a Ferrari car ready and raring to go. 4 crew minifigures and a driver minifigure there as well. Lots of nice details in the actual pit crew area screens that are stickered, it looks like. And then onto the garage, so it's slightly more filled out with the area for behind the scenes. And that's where the Mercedes AMG and Alpine sort of sharing a space there. And once again, 2 crew minifigures and a driver. One of the smallest set of this wave is a McLaren race car. That's a fairly simple McLaren car with a driver. There's those details. And here we get to the track itself with 2 cars, V-Carbon Sauber, and lights that can change and, lights up and away you go. But if you don't want to do the lights, you also have someone there to wave the checkered flag at the end of the race. And then once more, one of the more simple sets, with just 2 cars. That's Haas and Williams racing there. One of the cheaper sets and one of the more simple ones. And now coming to LEGO Speed Champions. We've got them all lined up in one colourful row here. Starting with Red Bull, Mercedes, Ferrari there, onto McLaren. And you can really see if you look from above that there are differences in the cars. They've really tried to make sure that the build experience is different and engaging for each set. Onto Aston Martin there, through to perhaps one of the brightest ones, Alpine. Then there's Williams. Each one comes with its own unnamed minifigure as well. There's V-Car. Kick Sauber there in the bright green. And last but not least, there's Haas.
It was actually really tricky to get it right because, when you're building and optimizing a model, you can come up with certain solutions. You think, that's a great way to build side pods. And then you've got to come up with 9 other great ways to build side pods because you want them to be different. It was just a lot more work for the design teams, right? But a lot of work that we did with a smile, because a lot of F1 fans were at the Lego group and in the Speed Champions design team, and again a lot of sharing between the different designers. So if someone had a breakthrough about something, they would share it with the other designers. Also trying to work with the teams because it was really important that this was a partnership and a collaboration with all of the F1 teams, that we represented their cars in the most accurate detail possible. So that's a lot of where you see the logos and the sponsor details, because obviously it's a Lego model, so we're going to have elements that are combined to make certain shapes and compound shapes that maybe we can't decorate or we can't put a sticker across. So we have to then work with the teams to find the best way to recreate that, to really make them iconic.
So 2 of the speed champion sets are 18 plus.
Yes.
Is that why?
That's because of the sponsor logos on those sets, and that's the only reason. It's not a building complexity thing.
And then you touched a bit on sort of making sure all the teams are included.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to the cities.
Yes.
How did you make up your mind about which teams were going where? Ferrari in the pit stop, you've got Red Bull and Mercedes and other things. How did you make this?
Yeah, so basically we started with the kids, right? So we wanted to try and find, it's actually a really simple answer, the cars that look the coolest together, right? So it's a lot about the color palettes. It's a lot about how they they're doing, and it's when we see them together. So again, we've got V-Carb and Sauber. You've got 2 very different cars that kids know are racing. Again, the pit stop, it's an amazing pit stop, and again, all the non-car stuff is generic F1 branded. So you'll see it's the F1 race truck, it's the F1 pit stop. All the crew here are F1 crew. So we have the F1 garage crew, and then the pit crew are also F1 crew. So we have those. That means it doesn't matter then which car as a kid you take and put in your truck or in your pit stop. They all work together, and you have this, the F1 crew ready to support all the teams.
And can I just ask one thing? Could you demonstrate the lights?
Yeah, sure. I think right is red. Is that correct? Remember that? Yeah. So yeah, super simple. You just slide it, and the lights go out. And a really important feature for us because it's such an iconic moment. It's at every race. It's at the beginning of Drive to Survive, right? We all know it. We all love it. And a lovely little mechanism. Paul, the designer that worked on this. Yeah, we had a lot of different iterations, but finding one that worked well that kids could build, actually quite tricky.
And was this one of them that could launch?
Yes, that's the garage, right? So be careful because it's really fly. Yeah, so let's. And that's me being gentle.
Have the engine fin, which you don't have on the Red Bull, rounded, and also check it out, the DRS activator, completely different on both cars. Then you move to the Ferrari, and unlike the Mercedes, you've got the undercut here, completely different side pod design going down to the back of what we call the Coke bottle, but you can't probably call that with the legs. And again, completely different at the rear. And then the McLaren, you've got the channels through the side pods. Everything is completely different. You've got your side impact structures on the McLaren. The Aston Martin, again, side pods disappear to nothing, sculpted round and then disappear to nothing. The Alpine, the channels that go down there, and again, the side pods, look, compare that to the Ferrari, right? Side pods are going all the way down to the back, they disappear to nothing, and you've just got the floor there on the Alpine. Every single one of them is completely different. It's, as an F1, like, geeking out, like nerding out over the intricacy and the level of detail that they've gone to on these, and I can't lift them up. When you turn them over and you look at them, you can see from the floor that from the very first brick, it's a completely different build for every single car. Airflow over the helmet, it's like that to direct the airflow into the air intake above the engine.
Is that actually a thing?
Yeah. The sculpting of the engine that maneuvers the air.
And it's a new mold, right? Like
It's a new mold.
It's a new mold,
And same on the collectibles.
Have you been to Midland yet?
No, I haven't. I've got to go. But that is. So since it's been the same helmet design since Lego Spaceman,
More or less, yeah.
and
now they've changed it for F1 with the sculpting on the back.
Yeah.
And now we're coming to Lego DUPLO and Lego Collectibles. So obviously geared towards the youngest of Lego builders interested in F1. We've heard a lot about how they're wanting to make sure that parents and kids can engage at any age, and obviously this is coming for sort of the youngest builders. There's enough parts included in the set that you can build any of the 10 teams. So there's a lot of diversity there, as well as a podium with a cup for whichever team comes out on top. Then on to the Lego Collectibles. It's the first time that a collectible series hasn't been focused on minifigures. It's all 10 teams plus an F1 branded car and an F1 Academy car. So that's the F1 car there. So if we go along, F1 Academy, F1, Haas, Sauber, up to Aston Martin, Alpine, Williams, all the way through to McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes, and Red Bull. So we are getting our first look at some other sets coming up in 2025, including Lego icons of Nigel Mansell and his Williams racing car. Similar style to the one we've already got for Ayrton Senna, with a minifigure with a quote plaque, an information plaque about the car, and a stand so you can display the car itself on a dynamic sort of angle there. And then there's a Technic set here based on the Ferrari 2024 car, complete with all of the branding that comes with it. It is stickered, but a lot of detail packed in here, all the way down to the tyres. So that was that. Very exciting. We've had our first look at the LEGO Formula 1 2025 sets across multiple themes. Let us know what you think down in the comments. Be sure to head over to brickfanatics.com for even more content.